I'm going to be doing a little Hangout stream, playing around and testing some SongJam software and just showcasing what it's capable of at this point. So how are we doing today, Adam? What's up?
Good to see you, man. Yeah, welcome back. And yeah, glad you had a great trip and all of that. But yeah, good to see you back in the Western Hemisphere and all of that. So yeah.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. What do you want to share a little bit about what we're going to be doing today?
Yes. So we're just gonna demo the new SongJam Space site, right? So this is basically, this has got like there's a couple of different features, but fundamentally it's about being able to retrieve your social graph, right? So you can basically like pull your followers and following data from X and line that up with everyone that has a Farcaster account, right? So it's basically, it's kind of the beginning of being able to like map your social graph, and then what we will do is enable this to be for you to kind of store this data and take ownership of it, right? And that will come in the form of a non-fungible graph. So that's
You want to show us your non-fungible graph there?
right. Yeah. So this is basically, yeah, exactly. So this is the like the social graph that I've retrieved now, and this is the, as you can see. So basically, it's just everyone that everybody that has a Farcaster account that I'm already either following or is following me. And yeah, and then you can see all of these individual accounts, right? So, and if you want, you can follow them all, right, on Farcaster. Like it's just at the moment it's kind of manual, but like we will enable like a follow all feature in the near future. And essentially this is literally your literally this will be made into a proper immutable piece of piece of data that you can own yourself, right? So at the moment, like, this data is basically owned by, well, until you kind of pull it into this platform, until you pull it into this protocol, even, it's this is all like, this is we're kind of at the, we have this data inside of X, and we're users of X. Like, we don't specifically own or control this data, whereas like when you pull it into here, then you start to take ownership of it. And then what we'll do is we'll set it up so you can push it into one of these non-fungible graphs, and that will mean that you can like truly like be owning your own data, right? So that's kind of handy. And I think that it's actually very important to have this kind of level of ownership. And why would you be taking platform risk when you don't need to be? So this is the look at that. So there's some cool things you can like mess around with it like that, but that's just a way to visualize the data, right? So you could follow people on Farcaster, or you can just take that in. So in the future, we'll also make this compatible with other decentralized social protocols. So like I've been having some discussions with some of the guys over in the Dash ecosystem. So the Dash is like one of the top 10 cryptos actually. And one of the first, one of the very early kind of attempts at doing decentralized cash. And that's they're actually currently working on a decentralized social protocol. So this is going to be, it's just another example of decentralized social rails. And the goal here is to kind of basically aggregate these different decentralized social rails so that you can like have the best possible experience in navigating the ecosystem. So, and something that can kind of sit alongside your existing social media experience, but just in a new in a new kind of like more more useful way that will basically, you know, as I say, the most important thing is to take ownership of this data.
1,000,000%. I love it. I love it. Do you want to share a little bit about what we're going to be doing here today with the Hangout token and different space tokens?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, so the other side of it is that you can actually now deploy your own, so you can deploy your own space token, and that means that you can actually set up and run an audio space, right? So which is basically, for now, it's kind of similar to a Twitter space, but this is where we're going to build in, like, you know, more interesting kind of like voice driven utilities that will enable people to, yeah, like it's kind of the foundation of having a voice orientated experience that is also, you know, we'll be plugging in voice agents as well, and you'll be able to kind of experience the whole you know, something similar to what we do in Twitter Spaces, but just like with like a much more rapid iteration as far as like the product experience goes. So we'll be building in lots of different features to give you like just a more robust and interesting experience. And there's lots of things these days, like, you know, we're living in the age of AI, right? You know, we could even integrate, for example, we could even integrate Claude directly into this platform, or Grok, or any one of the LLMs, and you can interact with that. You can spin up your own voice agent, and all of this stuff is basically like, this is kind of, you could see this as like the canvas that will enable like the creation of new social mechanics and new token mechanics as well, right? So we're kind of, it's like, just this is a front end that queries and understands, like, you know, this data, right? Some of this is on chain social data, but also here you can actually deploy your own token, right? So I'll actually just demo how to do this right now. So
Are you sure you want a space?
sorry?
Nothing. Never mind. I was just asking about the space versus like one word.
Oh right. Oh, yeah. Right, you mean the space. Well, this is the name. This is like the name of the token itself, right? So I don't know if
Okay.
it's, whereas like the symbol is going to be like that, right? Hangout, right? So that's
Well,
like the hashtag kind of equivalent, right? So it is, you see, it is one word as
I see.
like the ticker name, right? So, and then basically, like, so this interface, so what it does for now is, like, I've retrieved like everyone from my social graph, right? And basically I can distribute, so I can actually allocate an airdrop, so it just goes up to 90 billion, so that's actually 90% of the token supply, right? So we could I'm maybe, let's go with, I think in this case, let's just give, like, say, let's call it 50% goes directly to the 463 accounts that have been retrieved in my social graph, right? So those are basically, as I say, my followers, or my following, who I'm following, that is, but who's got a Farcaster account. So that's literally it for now. Like, at the moment, it's just set up, so it's just split equally, right? So the 50 billion is just distributed equally according to the 463 accounts. Like, I can remove accounts if I want to, but for now, I'm just going to go with like all of it. And basically, yeah, so there's a creator vault, right? So this is what for this, we're actually leveraging the infrastructure that you launched your token with, right? So that's the Empire Builder launcher, which is basically leveraging the Clanker protocol, right? So Clanker being the same protocol that is being used to launch like these these different tokens that can be deployed directly on X or directly on Farcaster, such as Banker, right? So Banker, the BANKR, right, which is launched like the debt relief bot that was actually Grok. You know, they kind of socially engineered Grok to launch its own token, and I think somebody's done it with Claude now as well. So and then we can set again, like, so we've already set the amount for the airdrop. We can set a creator vault, and then we can set a time. So these advanced settings like give us the opportunity to determine different fees. So we can determine like what fees are taken for each of the like buys or sells, right? So this is between ranging from nothing to like 5%. This is the like initial market cap, right? Which is, I think that should be maybe we just set it at like 20,000. Actually, we're still testing this stuff out, right? So it's basically kind of like an early days for kind of, you know, figuring out like the whole thing. But in this case, so these tokens essentially function as like access tokens, right? So you can actually but the airdrop, like, so the token itself can determine like who has access initially. You know, it can be basically because there's like a day is the minimum for before an airdrop happens, right? So you can just set it up to go on the basis of like a single day. You can set it up for 30 days, and then basically every account can be whitelisted. But actually, for now, we're just setting it up to make these spaces like open to everyone, because it just makes more sense to kind of, you know, democratize it. And basically, what can happen is, like, as a host, you can choose the time period that it takes for like each of the individual you know, as I say, the vesting, but you could also determine how long, you know, whether or not you're going to be charged, like whether or not it's going to be token gated, like access to the spaces, or you can just like freely access them. So these are the various settings. There's like a couple of different things to take care of over this, but now I've got this all set up. I can just literally like click deploy, and then I'm given the it should be processing this transaction, and it will start to deploy the token. So this is the transaction. So you can see just like a very kind of moderate fee as far as like the ETH goes, and I can literally have, yeah, so this is now submitted. There we go. So this now means that, so like the token itself, so we gave it a name and we gave a symbol, right? But it's also, it automatically generates the QR code. So this QR code is actually a link to the space, right? So basically, like if you scan that, you'll be able to get through to the space itself. And the space itself is currently, it looks like it's currently, it's yet, it's not yet available, but the link itself is going to be how you can access these different spaces, right? So basically, yeah. So this is the space, and I'm currently offline, but like I can actually down here, Zul, this is actually your agent for now. So you're the only voice. You can actually, I don't know if I'm streaming the audio, but if I click that, can I hear anything? Did you hear that?
I did, yeah. It was like, oh, maybe I didn't. I don't know. but there's a setting in the share screen that's just also share tab audio. But
Oh, right. If you didn't hear it, then just a sec. Let me see if I can pull this in. Or we can come back to that. So, but that basically, so that's actually your agent for now. So it's not fully integrated into the space. It's already, so this is already a space, right? So I'm already now broadcasting into this space here, and this link, which is my Songjam space / Adam Music, you can actually access the space directly, right? So anyone can join in and interact in this environment, which is currently just set up with a chat, and it's like the main space interface itself, right? So you recall from when we were rolling out the Zabul token previously, it was we were leveraging these kinds of space experiences like inside your leaderboard, right? So what we'll start to do is we'll start to bring in all of the different, actually the leaderboards themselves, so the Empire leaderboard and all of the other information that is related to this, and we can basically, this can be, as I say, like the kind of canvas to start to explore this next generation of kind of access tokens, and start to query like the on-chain data and the decentralized social, right?
100%. I love it. No, it's really exciting. I'm gonna see if I can pop in here, and this one's not token gated, right? That's how you set it up.
This is not, so this is not, so basically like it's up to the host, like if you're going to token gate it, but obviously initially as well, like I think that airdrop is set up to go out in like 30 days with like 60 days vesting. So that will, in the meantime, basically there are 3 ways. It could be open to everyone. It could be set up to be whitelisted according to the Farcaster account, or it could be set up to be token gated, so it's just based on like holders of the token are able to access, right? So those are the kind of the options available for hosts at the moment.
Awesome.
And the other side of it is actually kind of integrating the music into it, right? So like people will remember that we had the Songjam DJ that was quite popular, and until kind of the jackboot of Elon came down and nerfed the DJ. So there you go. That's all. And so we'll integrate the musical experiences into this as well. And this will be basically, it's just going to be like all of the features that we kind of want from X Spaces. But like, just we can kind of iterate much more quickly. So we'll look at how we can kind of map it more closely to what's going on in X Spaces as well. But for now, it's like, the starting point is just being able to provide this experience.
1,000,000%. Thank you, Adam. This is super exciting, very cool, and I'm excited to see how we iterate on this. And it was just cool to see it launch so seamlessly, and I'm excited to check out more. I don't know if you want to share any kind of like last big things about what you're kind of thinking here, or I mean that was a successful demo on my end. It looked pretty simple and very manageable, and you explained a lot of it. So
well, basically, I think it's just about like what we're going to start to do is to pull in more, is to visualize the on-chain data better. So, because actually these tokens are paired with Sang, right? So, that's the native currency of the Songjam ecosystem. And what we've discovered since launching the Zabul token is that actually, because it's like, it's like a low cap, like new project, it doesn't kind of get indexed in by DEX front ends in like in the same way that like a blue chip crypto will. So one thing that we're going to start to look at is how we can kind of visualize more effectively what's going on with these assets, right? Because actually, it's kind of I can understand from the perspective of the various front ends like deck screener that we often use to kind of query these currencies. It's basically like there's so many rugs and honeypots and all kinds of nefarious stuff going on that it doesn't make sense to like prioritize just even like indexing them properly. But what it means is that like when we're exploring this kind of new frontier of decentralized social and leveraging tokens to have like true utility, right? The utility is actually being able to access these spaces, be able to launch a space and this kind of thing, and just be like a cryptographic primitive that defines the way that we interact in these environments. We're just not able to kind of retrieve and understand the data in an effective way, right? So we're going to build some more experiences that enable us to understand like what's going on with these pairs and what happens when we add liquidity to them and all this kind of thing. So basically, like, yeah, there's all of this you could look forward to, but basically like this hangout, I'll just end the space now, but this is a space now. So I've actually launched this token. I'm now able to launch the space anytime. It's actually live on Empire Builder as well, right? So Empire Builder being the this is the infrastructure that is that, as I say, this is the launcher that you rolled out Zabul on, and but all it means is I could launch a space, right? So what we're looking to do is to build up like an ecosystem of builders and creators who want to kind of explore like the frontiers of Web3 and just experiment with like how we leverage these assets and how we leverage these cryptographic primitives to interact in this kind of digital environment, right? So and the idea is to make it as interactive as possible, and I think that like it is successful, like the way that the X Spaces experience works, but let's just take it to the next level and create deeper interactive experiences that allow for real communities to engage with one another, right?
Boom. Well said. I love it. I'm excited. This is where we'll be rocking out some of our spaces as well. So definitely check us out on the Song Jam spaces. And do you want to give that link one more time? I think it was my.songjam.space.
Yeah, my.songjam.space. Kind of a reference to MySpace, if anyone remembers, like the original social media, like the first, probably the first Web 2 social network, right? Like that came before Facebook and all of that. So actually I thought that was kind of funny that we've got I wasn't expecting, it was like we didn't want to go with app. We could have gone with app.songjam.space. We've already got one of those. So my Songjam space is kind of a cool
amazing. No, I love it. Do you want to say any last words before we get out of here?
Well, just thanks for having me. Like you could also, if there's no host live, you can actually click this and this will actually send a notification on the Farcaster timeline, right? So you can actually directly reach out to people. Cool. Yeah, so if you want to bug somebody to go live, then you can just do that over here.
Amazing. I love it. I'm curious if okay, never mind. But yeah, no, that's super exciting. There we go. You can see live right there. So we'll be chit-chatting over there a bunch in the future. It'll be our central place in the Zabal, and I'm just excited to see us build more.
Yeah, dude, we're gonna build a lot of stuff into this, and it's really just like almost anything is possible, right? Like imagine like the LLM in this chat window. You can have an LLM, like you can have Claude Code could be running here, right? Anything is possible, really. So it's an interface to explore the on-chain, what you can just look at it as like a front end to see what's really going on. And I think in some ways, all of these networks are kind of they are social networks already on some level, right? So there's actually and it's interesting that there is this kind of tribalism that exists between different blockchains, for example. But at the end of the day, at the social layer, this is the most interoperable place for these assets, right? So we can have like non-fungible graphs that exist on Solana, taking data from Farcaster, right? And it's all like because it's not specifically attached to a token value, it doesn't need to be bridged in the same manner that it doesn't, that where it's like a very liquid asset does, right? And it may be that the NFGs build up value as assets in their own right, and kind of there could be a marketplace that's built up around that as well. But I think we'll have to see how that goes as you start to kind of like take control and like monetizing your influence as well, right?
1,000,000%. Well, thank you, Adam, for popping on. Thanks for launching the Hangout token. Come hang out with Adam while we test out some of these features, and come over to the Zabal universe and go request me to go live if we're not live. Thanks everyone for popping in and checking it out, and thank you, Adam, for staying with us.
Yeah, good to see you, dude.
Cheers.
See you later.